there's lots of people waiting and commenting already. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm Holly. Welcome to my studio, and we're gonna paint the little boo tonight. This is aw, thank you so much, Patricia. Hi Pat. Hi Paula. Hi Sue. Hi Lil. Thank you so much for coming in. I love it. I'm watching the chat. That's great. This is, of course, the little boo that we're painting tonight. I have a little peek of sunshine. I'm gonna try and get rid of that right away. But this is the little project that I thought we would do together. It's just a fun, whimsical little project. So I thought it would be great for a Friday night. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Pam. Aw, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh. I love it. I love it. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming in. Of course, we're gonna start with a little bit of base coating. We're gonna do that little ghost. I'm kind of excited to see what you guys had picked for painting. If I always say if you post your pieces, please tag me if you'd like. It's Holly Hanley Painting Designs and Classes on Facebook or at Holly Hanley Artists. But if you post your pieces, I always love to see them. So please do. And you can tag me. I always like to see what people pick to paint on. I did some shopping therapy this morning. So it's been a little bit of a rough week, I must say. But I went to Michael's and I was going to buy. So this is the piece that I painted on. I actually bought another one and I was going to paint on that. But then I actually came across this piece here. I'm going to show you, but this is the piece. This is the same piece. I just bought it from Michael's. Okay, so it was, I don't know. It's called the small layered arch sign. It actually comes in 2 sizes, which is awesome. So I bought a couple more of these because I think a little Christmas project would be in order, or winter or something. So I'm definitely going to use one again. But all the Halloween stuff was out and it was buy one, get one free. So, I mean, you'd be losing money to leave it there, right? So, has anybody else been to Michael's lately? This is one of, well, I'm not a big fan of the saying, so, but I thought this little wood piece would be so cute to paint on. So I bought one of these and it comes in a couple different shapes. So it was buy one, get one free. And I thought, well, I'm going to paint my little ghost on that tonight. But it's such a cute little, it sits upright. I actually, there was like a little skull. So I picked it off and I sanded it down and I just base coated it with black. So I think it's going to be so cute along with my other little piece. So it's always nice to paint on a couple different things. So that's why I picked that one. But if you're still searching for a piece, you can go to Michael's. They have all kinds of cute stuff. And sometimes even if it's not, if it's already painted, you can sand it down and paint it, or you can use the back. So even that works too. But I bought a few things there this morning. It was, I always find more than what I need. Yes, Pam, you definitely need to go to Michael's. They got all kinds of cute stuff. Okay, so, and you know what? If you're on, I even found these. These were at Dollar Tree. They're such a cute little frame. Definitely, if you want something inexpensive and really cute, Dollar Tree has these. They're only $1.25. And you can easily take out like the glass part of the frame and just paint on the wooden piece at the back. So, and it would be so cute. And I have some other little tips for you on how to decorate those. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching and commenting and sharing. I talked to DecoArt. DecoArt was nice enough to supply a couple. I got all this sun. The sun comes through my blinds this time and is really bright. So it just keeps peeking through. But DecoArt was nice enough to donate a couple prizes for tonight. And I have a couple prizes for tonight. So I'm going to go through after I'm gonna let everybody watch the replay as well, and I'll pick some winners this weekend. So please comment. I'm gonna go through and pick a few winners. Decor has they're giving away the Halloween set of colors, so that's awesome. There's so many colors in there. I would love to win that too. But there's going to be 3 lucky winners from DecoArt, and they're also doing like a frosting package as well. So they're going to give away this stuff, which is so cool. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of a glare. Frosting is really neat. Have you guys used it before? And then I have a couple gift certificates, so please comment. I'm like, it's always fun winning something, right? Okay, so enough chatter. I'm gonna turn my camera around. We're gonna get started. If you're wondering, if you're new to painting, this is actually this pattern. It's an electronic pattern, so an e-pattern, and it's just on my website. And my website is www.hollyhanley.ca, and it's basically you after you purchase it, it's an instant download. So it comes with color pictures, the supply list of all the paints that you need, the brushes, and then detailed instructions. And then there's also a little line drawing to trace on. So yeah, in case you're wondering where to find this pattern, it's on my website, and it's just hollyhanley.ca. So, and thank you so much for everybody who purchased this pattern already. I so appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Okay, so oh, and I bought these little earrings, and you know what? I thought they were at World Market. I thought you could easily make those. So that was one of the things that I went to Michael's today. And I bought little earrings, the things to make little earrings. So I've been doing lots of like little glue gun things. I don't know if you've seen my videos on Facebook, but so many cute things that you can do. And yeah, it's just never ending. I just need more time. So I'm going to try and keep up with your comments here. I'll try and answer. If you have any questions along the way, please ask and just write it in the chat box and I'll help you out. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to turn my camera around. I'm not fancy, so please forgive me. But okay, so here we are. There's my little desk. Okay, right in here. Here's my piece, like so. All right. I found these really cool branches at Michael's that I needed to have. Oh, there's so many things. I just, so many things. Okay, so hopefully I'm gonna try and zoom in a little bit here and there just so that you can see a little bit better. But, okay. So right in here, I'm just gonna take, okay, so here's the, I just basically what I did again. This was just a piece from Michael's. They have such cute stuff. It's just never ending. There were so many pieces that I wanted to get, but I picked this one. It was a buy one get one free. So this is what it looked like kind of before. Same idea. It had pink. I basically just took a palette knife and I just lifted this little cutout off. So it comes off pretty easily. And then I basically just sanded it. I gave it like 3 coats of black. And then with the e-packet, there is a line drawing. So you can actually trace on the drawing like that. I'm going to put something underneath this just so that it's flat. But, and you can make that any size. So if you need to, you can actually adjust the size on your printer. So if you're printing out the pattern, you can actually adjust it. And enlarge it or decrease it for whatever surface that you're using. So, okay, so we're just going to start with a little bit of white and we're going to base coat that little ghost. Now, I do everything, I call it whimsical. I really like soft edges. I really like to, when it's a little bit messy looking, maybe that's what you would call it. But here, I'm just gonna, there's a bit of a glare here I'm trying to fix, but let me see if I can fix that so it's not quite so bright. All right. I don't know if that's a little bit better or worse. Okay. Anyway, so for the most part, the brushes that I use, they're actually Princeton brushes. I like to use my favorite brush. And for most of you, if you've joined me before, I love the lunar blenders. They're my favorite. Kate, thank you so much. I honestly have just so many ideas. There's just not enough time in the day. I'm working on another cute little project I can't wait to show you. That'll be coming in the next couple days, so stay tuned for that. I just did this little car. I don't know if you guys saw that little video, but this was this was a Christmas car, but I actually changed it into a Halloween one, so same surface. But I used a glue gun for the top part. It's just so fun. Like I've been having so much fun with the glue gun. Lots of things that you can do with that. Just because the quick I used to use Quickwood, but I developed this major allergy to it, and I can't use it anymore. I just break out. Um, so now I've been using a few other different things, and definitely the glue gun has been lots of fun. So all right. Okay, so we're using the Lunar Blender. This is a Princeton brush. You can actually find these at different places as well. I think Michael's carries them. You can find them. I will have them at Net if you're coming to New England Traditions. I'll have some of my classes as well. You can, so lots of different places. But basically, they have a bristle hair mixed with a soft hair. So they're really nice for whimsical strokes. You can actually also do fur strokes with these for animals, yeah, all kinds of things. But the way that I use it is that I basically wet the brush first, okay, and that softens up those bristles, okay, and then I tap the brush off on a paper towel, okay. So, and that's the trick. I actually don't add any water to my paint. I really like to use just straight paint. I like it to be nice and vibrant, and I also like it to skip on the surface. So you can see on this one, it's got really soft edges, even around the eyes. Everything's very loose and whimsical, and that's what I love. That's my thing. I love to dry brush, but it's honestly not quite a dry brush. It's more of like a wet dry brush, which I don't know if that makes any sense, but anyway, some days I don't make sense. But okay, I'm just taking that quarter-inch lunar blender, okay, and we're just going to do a quick, well, we're gonna base coat this little ghost, okay, and what I mean by that is that we're gonna loosely base coat it. So when I load the brush, I take a little bit of white, and usually what I do is I blend off the excess, so and that just evenly distributes it on my brush. Okay, you're gonna hold your brush right on the ferrule, the metal part of the brush, and rest your hand as much as you can. Okay, so and we're just gonna start like this and see how that paint sort of skips. Okay, that's what I love. I love that. But we're actually gonna make this really quite opaque in the center. So I'm gonna use a little bit more paint right in here, nice and solid basically. And if you want to go over that little face, you sure can. You can easily transfer your pattern back on, and we can paint that in after. I'm gonna kind of go around it a little bit just to start. Okay, and you're definitely welcome to, of course, get creative. I love that. Change anything that you want. You can change the colors. You can change the face. This is your project. Okay, so but basically, I'm just starting with white, and like I said before, I've always said they go through ugly stages, so don't worry. It's gonna get better, I promise. Okay, but basically, just kind of starting with a really loose base coat like that. Okay, again, just taking that little bit of white and sort of like when I brush that paint on, I sort of let it skip as I lift off like that, so it's a little softer. Okay, but I'm always resting my hand so I have lots of control over the brush and what I'm doing here. Okay, so just really nice and light. And the great thing is about whimsical, it doesn't have to be perfect. And especially with a ghost, you can come off the edge and give it a nice soft little glow, um, like so. and most important, just have fun. Okay, so right in here, lots of times what I'll do is I'll leave some of the graphite lines showing, and that just I always try and, take advantage of my background color. So my background colors are pretty dark a lot of times, usually it's black, so I'll use that to my advantage to add a little bit of shadowing and separation. So sometimes I'll leave those little graphite lines showing, so I won't paint over them too much like that, and it already starts to create a little bit of a wrinkle. Okay, like so, right in here. Okay, and again, you can see it's really blotchy. Doesn't look too pretty right now, but I promise it'll get a little bit better. Okay. Oh, Robin, I don't think I'm coming to Alabama just because my daughter is graduating this year, next year in June. And that sort of coincides with that, unfortunately. I would love to come, maybe if next year, but I need to be there for grad for sure. I can't believe my daughter is graduating. It's pretty amazing. Time just flies by. All right. Okay, so this is just the 1/4 inch lunar blender. I'm using some white. Okay, and just sort of really loosely base coating, like so. Okay. Don't worry, we can always add a little bit of shadowing back in, but this is how I go about sort of really loosely base coating. Okay, so we're just gonna give that a coat. I'm gonna switch to my little 1/8 inch brush. Okay, but it's very it's very light right now. I'm gonna give this another coat after, but we'll come back to that. Okay, so right in here, I'm just gonna go around those cute little eyes. Again, if you wanna go over the eyes and come back to that and trace your pattern on or draw your own little face on, you definitely can. Okay, feel free to change whatever you like that. It's coming together already. So fun. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun painting Halloween things. It's and it's not even October. All right. Soon. Okay. So, and then I'm going to use, you can either use your little 1/8 inch lunar blender or you can use a round brush. So if you have a round that you like to use, like a 2 or a 3 or a 4, whatever you've got, it's just fine. Okay, but you can use that. And I always add little hands to my ghosts. I don't know why. I just think they're so cute. But you're going to paint those in just using your round brush. Again, hold your brush right on the ferrule, the metal part of the brush. Okay, I always hold it a little farther down just so I have some more control. Okay, like this. And okay, rest your hand on your pinky and you're going to paint that little hand in. Again, make sure that you tap off all the excess water. You definitely you don't want any water in your paint just because I really like it when the paint skips and it covers a lot better. Okay, if you have water in your paint, it's not going to cover very well. You're definitely going to need more coats. Okay, sometimes I add water, just depends on what I'm doing, but for the most part, I really dry off my brush. Okay, like this. Right in here. I've been slowly decorating for Halloween, pulling a few things out here and there, hoping my husband doesn't notice. Uh, right in here. Okay, so there's one little hand. Okay, so this is a 2 round, but you can definitely use a 3 or a 4. It's all good. You can even probably fit in your little 1/8 inch lunar blender. Okay, I don't know what happened to the tracing, but this hand got really large. So, Okay, and these little graphite lines, they just erase off. So this is, if you haven't used the graphite paper before, it's much like carbon paper, except you can erase it with a normal pencil eraser. Okay, so, and it just comes in a pack and it lasts for a long time just because you can keep reusing it. Like so. Okay, all right. So keep commenting and I will pick some winners and I'll post them on my Facebook page. All right. These are these hands are a little wonky, aren't they? All right. Oh well, they don't have to be perfect, right? Okay, like this. All right. How's everybody doing? Are you doing okay? Okay, like that. So right in here. Okay, so just painting in those little hands. And then I base coated my skull, but I only gave it like one coat. So it needs another coat. Again, you can just use a little round brush or something like that. Um, okay, so to paint that in, you could also do like a little glue gun skull. There's so many different silicone molds out right now. They're so cute. You can find them at Michael's and Amazon and all kinds of places. They make such cute little embellishments. I don't know. Have you guys seen that little video on my Facebook page? It got almost 3 million views, which is crazy. I can't even believe it. So thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Um, So right in here, just giving those little hands a couple coats, okay, until they're opaque like that. And I'm gonna switch to, thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate it so much. You have no idea, like just reading comments and you are all so lovely. It just brightens my day. Okay, so I'm just taking my little 1/8" lunar blender. I'm gonna go back to my little ghost. I find that it's so much easier to make little swirls and things if you use that little 1/8". So right in here, like you can do little swirls. This is where, don't think too much. It doesn't have to exactly follow the pattern. So I'm just adding some little swirls and curls to accent her cute little, I don't know, I guess sheet or dress. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so right in here, I'm just um, creating that little swirl. Again, whenever I load my brush, I always wet it first, again, just to soften up the bristles that are in the brush. Okay, tap off the extra water. Okay, you definitely don't want any excess water. Um, you're going to blend off the excess paint. Okay, and this is where you want to add some of those little swirls. You can see it's not a continuous swirl. I actually always sort of pull down and towards myself like this. So I'll do that, and then I'll come this way, and then, accent a few of the edges. Okay, so I actually do it in a few different strokes. It doesn't have to be one continuous one. Okay, but I love doing swirls. They're my thing. Love, love, love it. So fun. Okay, but I thought it's so cute to add those little guys. And then I wanted a little bit of the back of her dress to show. So what I did was I just took my little 1/8" lunar blender and I just kind of dry brushed her, just like this little whimsical stroke, because it's more than a dry brush. There's more paint, I guess, than a dry brush. But I just put in a little bit kind of in the back there, but I left a little bit of space right in here just so that you could tell that it was kind of the back of her dress, like that. Okay, right in here. So there's a little bit sort of peeking through, and then of course there's some spider webs here and there. Okay, but that's a really, I think it's a good start for that. We're gonna add another layer though, just because that was so much fun. We're gonna do it all again. Okay, so right in here. Oh my gosh, so fun. All right. But you can see, I did leave a lot of the background sort of showing here and there. Again, if you covered it up, not a big deal. And every time I paint things, it's a little different. So maybe this wrinkles maybe a little bit more than over here, but it's all good. Okay, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. So don't worry at all if it's not. Okay, but I'm gonna give this just because it's nice and dry. It actually dried pretty quick. I'm gonna go back and give that a second layer. Okay, so again, I have the little 1/4 inch liner blender. These are kind of my two favorite sizes. If you have the 3/8, that works great too. But these are the ones that I guess I use the most. Just again, taking that paint. Okay, this is just white, and I'm gonna give it another layer. So I'm using quite a bit of paint to base coat, and then the edges are a little softer. Okay, so right in here. So I'm putting on lots of paint right in the center so it's nice and bright. Okay, like this, but just still keeping those edges kind of whimsical, nice and soft. You can leave a few of those little graphite lines sort of showing, so adds a little bit of shadow and separation in between those little wrinkles. Okay, so right in here, like this. There's, of course, they have Christmas out already at Michael's, or they're definitely starting to put it out. So now I'm torn because I want to paint some Christmas stuff and I want to do Halloween. Okay, I just want to do it all. What's your favorite season to paint? Okay, right in here. All right, so it's getting brighter. Again, my eyes are getting a little wonky right there, but I'm gonna fix those up with some black after, so you don't have to worry about that. But these little ghosts, they come together pretty quick, don't they? So just using lots of paint in the middle and then kind of a little bit more light on the pressure so that you can almost get kind of like a little dry brush, a little bit of a glow around her. Okay, you can dry brush around her little hands like so. Okay, right in here. And again, I'm just kind of leaving some of that shadowing at the bottom, so it looks like there's a few little wrinkles. And you can see like the when you're doing wrinkles, usually the highlight is sort of in the part where it's raised up a little bit, and then as it goes down, that's where that shadow is going to be. Okay, so just sort of adding a little bit more white right sort of at the top of that little curve. Okay, to pop that out, and then it gets a little darker, so maybe a little bit less paint sort of as that dips. Okay, that's maybe where the shadow is gonna be. Okay, like so. Okay, and we can come back and add a little bit of shadow as well after. Okay, so if you covered all that up, not a big deal. There's always ways to fix things. I have done it all. So I know quite a few tricks on how to fix things. Okay, all right, so I'm just kind of fixing up the top here around the eyes, just trying to make it a little bit brighter. Again, we'll touch that up with a little bit of black, but um, right in here, the eyes are getting a little smaller as I go. Okay. Yeah, I don't really do gory too much. I like cute. I like cutesy. I think everything I paint is kind of cutesy. Um, I don't know. I've tried to paint some scary stuff and it just never turns out. Everything I paint seems to have a little bit of cute in it. Cute and whimsical. That's what I like. Okay, but you can see our little ghost. It's coming to life. All right, let me see if I can get that a little brighter. All right, welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. Okay, yes, Christmas. I love painting snowmen. I have some great ideas for some snowmen. So it's just gotta get a little bit more time, finish up the Halloween and the fall stuff. Okay, so I added a little bit at the back right here underneath, just with that little 1/8" lunar blender. Okay, adding a few little swirls here and there. And I'm gonna touch up her hands, give that a second coat. Okay, the white actually covers pretty well. So this is only 2 coats. Pretty, pretty amazing. I love the deco art colors. They're so vibrant. They cover really well. Definitely my favorite. Okay, so right in here, just using that round brush to kind of fix up those little hands. Okay, she's trying to be scary, but not really. She doesn't really doesn't really come off as very scary, does she? All right. Okay. All right. How's everybody doing? Yes, definitely. Squirrels are not very scary, are they? No. Okay. Okay, like so. All right. So we've got the white in there. That's not bad. My little skull maybe needs one more coat. We can always paint in the little eyes. Okay, so that. Okay, so just painting that in around the little eyes. Okay, so we've already got lots of like little wrinkles at the bottom, but we can accent those. Okay, um, so one little way to put in those wrinkles, if you've kind of covered them up a little bit, is you can put in a little bit of gray. So if you wanted to just kind of dry brush in a little bit of gray, I just usually mix a little bit of black and some white. But then I also put in a few little accents of some different colors. So there's some purple pizzazz and some teal mint, which is like such a nice color. So let's get a little bit of that out. Okay, so teal mint and some purple pizzazz. Okay. Yes, it is. The left eye is way bigger than the right eye. So I gotta fix that. I don't know why that happened. Okay, let's fix that. That would totally sometimes I do that on purpose, especially with the skulls. I always kind of make their eyes a little bit different sizes, just, I don't know, makes them look a little bit more whimsical, I guess. Okay, but I'm gonna grab a little bit of black. Okay, right in here. Oh, that's a good plan. Actually, Robin, lots of people do that. They kind of watch and then they paint. So, all right, just taking a little bit of black. Okay, again, I always wet the brush first, but then I tap off all the excess water and then just take a little bit of that paint. Okay, again, if you want to trace your pattern on, you sure can, but I'm just gonna wing it. And this is where I try and sort of make the edge a little softer, and that's easier to do when you don't have any water in your paint or on your brush. Okay, so you can see it just kind of skips like this. I don't know, right in here. I'm gonna try and make this eye. You could almost use even, I even thought about using a Q-tip just to kind of put those in. Okay, so right in here, I'm just painting her cute little eyes. They're very big. Okay, and I'm making the edge really nice and soft. Okay, so just kind of coming out a little bit, allowing the paint to skip. Again, trick is just no water in your paintbrush, like this. Okay, and then we've got, I'm trying to make them the same size. I don't know, it doesn't always work. Oh well. Okay, it's close. Wow, those look so huge. Okay. All right. All the better to see you with, right? Is that how the saying goes? Okay, so right in here, just painting in that little mouth. Okay, again, just with black. It's just, and you can change the shape like this. All right, you gotta hold your breath here for a sec. Okay, there we go. We got it. Kind of. I gotta fix it. All right. Okay, so right in here, um, like this, I'm just gonna take a little bit of white and I'm gonna touch this up, just a little touch. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna touch that up again. Okay, so there's kind of our little face started. We do need some little cheeks. Okay, like that. But we've also got a couple other little colors. But again, kind of like I was showing you before, if you want, you can add a little bit more shadowing. So again, just tap off all the excess water. You're going to take a little bit of black and a little bit of white. Okay, blend. Okay, and I always tap off again. And when you press on your brush, just kind of press on the ferrule, not the wooden part. Just you don't want to put too much stress on there, but you can take that little bit of gray, and if you want to just kind of, accent or add a little bit to those shadow areas, you sure can. And this is kind of more a dry brush, more your typical dry brush. Okay, so if you want a little bit more shadowing, if you got rid of, or you didn't leave quite enough, you can definitely put more in. Okay, so there's always ways to add or take away. Okay, so like that. If you want to just add a little bit more shadowing and some of those little wrinkles, you definitely can do that. Okay, like so. And then I added, even on this one, I don't know if you can see, but I added some purple. I love purple. And this purple pizzazz is definitely one of my favorite colors. Okay, I didn't even rinse my brush. I know, wild and crazy. You can just go right into that purple, like so. And you can add a few little accents and, you know, put them in however you want. Okay, if you want to add maybe just a little bit of white just to kind of tone it. Okay, like this. You can add some nice little warm accents at the bottom of her dress. Oh, that looks so cute. Okay, so definitely, I love it. It just sort of adds to it, I think. I love that little bit of purple. Warms it up, makes it look a little bit more whimsical. Okay, like that. Don't go too crazy. You don't want it to, well, I guess you could have it all purple. It really is totally up to you. Okay, and then I put a little bit of that teal mint. What a nice color that is. Okay, so just a little teal mint. Again, tap off the excess, and you can add a few little accents, maybe sort of where those little swirls are. Okay, you can even, I just kind of kept them at the bottom. So right in here, have fun. Don't think too much. Just put them wherever you want. Just put them in with your heart. Okay, so right in here, like that. Okay, maybe a little glow around. I don't know. That looks so cute. Okay. All right. So a little bit of teal mint. Love it. I don't know if you can see it. Yes. These are the biggest eyes ever. I think they're bigger than that one. I don't know. I might have to make them a little smaller, but we'll see. Whatever. Okay. It's all good. They do have a little bit of green in the bottom. You can use a little bit of that festive green or Kelly or mistletoe or whatever you want. It's all good. Okay. But okay, right in here. Oh, so funny. All right. Okay, so make sure you shake your paint. You know what? We're gonna do that in just a minute. I'm just gonna put, yeah, I'll put on a little bit of that green. We need a little bit of citron green, a highlight. If you don't have citron, you can use some margarita or whatever you want. Okay, anything that has a little bit of contrast. I always like a little contrast. And then if you guys haven't used this, this is the thermal green. It's a neons paint by DecoArt, and it is so fun. There's also a red. Okay, so there's a pink, it's called Fiery Red, and it's good for highlighting any red color, which is awesome. But it just kind of makes things glow. Hey, and you know what? I was thinking today, there's my brain again, just kind of going in overdrive. But Decor has a glow in the dark, and I thought, wouldn't it be cute to kind of paint that over top? Maybe you have a glowing ghost at night. I think that would be so cute. Anyway, okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of that festive green. Okay, you can use that little 1/8" lunar blender and you can put a little bit of that green at the bottom of her cute little eyes, just kind of like a crescent shape. So, and we're gonna need a couple coats of that just so that it shows up a little bit better. But I'm not touching right to the bottom. It's just up a little bit. Okay, so there's a little black sort of showing in between like that. I don't know. Can you guys see that at all? I don't know why it's not really showing up a whole bunch. Okay, like this. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry for just a minute, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take a little bit of that red. Thanks, Kim. She is kind of a cutie pie. Um, okay, so red and a little touch of white, or you can use watermelon slice. That's a really nice color too. And you can add her little tongue. Okay, just sort of shaped like a little M. That's a little bit brighter than, okay, so I just add a little touch of white to that, like that. Okay, looks cute, right? Okay, and then maybe a little sparkle dash on the top, like so. Okay, and we're also going to add those cute little cheeks. Okay, same color as the tongue, basically, just red and some white. And you can use a little stippler brush. Okay, if you haven't used these before, this is a Deerfoot stippler. They're used, I actually use them for a lot of my little textured bears and things like that. But I also use them for cheeks, okay, or dry brushing. And basically, you use this brush dry. So you don't even wet it first. You just take a little bit of red, a little bit of white, okay, rub off the excess. Okay, that's the trick. You want it to almost look like a powder on your paper towel. Okay, and we're just going to brush that on in a circular motion. Okay, so I can't stress enough, you really want to get rid of almost all the paint off your brush. Okay, by just you press on your paper towel, a nice dry paper towel, get rid of almost all the color so that it looks like a powder. Okay, and then you're going to rub that on in a circular motion like this. Okay, and if you get it too dark, you can actually, usually it'll come off right away. So if you just take a damp cloth, you can rub it off and try it again. Okay, like so. Every ghost needs little cheeks, right? I know that's I don't know. Do ghost needs cheeks? Probably not, but I think they look cute. Okay, so if you don't wanna put them on, I it's all good. This is your project. You paint it however you want. Okay, so I like cheeks. I really like rosy cheeks. They always turn out pretty dark. Okay, so cute. All right, that's done. Okay. Awesome. Friendly ghosts need cheeks. Yes, they do. Okay, and then we're gonna take a little bit of black. Actually, let's put in a little bit more green. Okay, and maybe some of that citron green. That festive green is very transparent. I might have to switch and add a little bit of mistletoe or something. Okay, but there's a little bit of green highlight in the bottom of those little eyes. Okay, I'm just using my round brush and just adding a couple little dashes at the bottom, like this. Okay, so a little green at the bottom. It'll just kind of bring it to life a little bit more. Okay, and then when you put that little white dot in, I don't use a stylus. I just use a liner brush or even my round brush if it has a nice tip on it, like this. Okay, but look at how it just come to life. You had that one little dot and it's like, oh my gosh, it just comes to life. Love it. A nice little sparkle. Okay, so, all right, so to recap, we started with some white. I used my 1/4 inch lunar blender to base coat in that little ghost, allowing some of the graphite lines, okay, where those little wrinkles are, maybe a little bit less paint at the bottom, just to use that background black to my advantage to add a little bit of shadowing. Okay, so just use some white, added that base of her little sheet, I guess, or dress. And then we did that a couple times. We gave it a couple coats. It's always a good idea to let it dry in between the coats. And then the eyes I just touched up with black. I added some green at the bottom, and the little tongue was pink. Okay, we just dry brushed on some little cheeks. You can even add a little sparkle dash at the top of those little cheeks. Looks so cute. Okay, I forgot on this one, so let's add that. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, all right. And then we need some lashes. Every little ghost needs lashes. Okay, you can use a liner brush for this, or you can just use a round brush. I often use a round brush that has a nice tip on it. Um, you could use a 0, a 1, a 2, any of those. Okay, this one is even a 3. But basically, you just start at the just right on the eye and pull outwards like this, giving it a little bit of a curve. Okay, and I just did 3 lashes on this little girl. Okay, so starting right here, okay, just pulling outwards and allowing that paint to kind of skip again. Okay, I didn't add any water to my brush or the paint. Okay, like that. So right in here. Okay, and this is always where it's a little tricky to do the other side. So you can turn your piece if you like. Okay, and we're gonna try and sort of match those little eyelashes. Okay, so you can sort of play with them, get them the way that you like them, but don't they add a lot? All right. Okay, so sorry, I missed that question. The first green was festive green. Or you know what? If you wanted to use Kelly green or mistletoe, that works great too. It's a little bit more opaque, but And then we did a little bit of the citron, or you can use margarita. You can use margarita on top. Looks great. Okay, and then that little sparkle of white just brings her little eyes to life. So cute. So cute. Okay, there's even a couple little dots at the bottom I missed. So you can use a little touch of white and add a little bit at the bottom. All right. I know it's really hard to do one side and then match the other, but it's all good. No one's going to notice. No one's going to be looking that hard at it. Okay, like this. All right. This is where you kind of hold your breath and hope for the best. Okay. Anyway, there's our cute little ghost. Let's do her hat. Okay, so her hat, I picked a few different colors. You can definitely change that for sure. What colors are you guys gonna do? Isn't it cute? Again, this was it had a skull on it. It had this skull. So I picked this off and I just sanded the piece and gave it, 3 coats of black. It's such a cute little piece because I like it because it stands up. So it'll look cute. They both look super cute, whichever piece that you picked. Okay, now the little hat. The little hat. Okay, so the hat and the shoes loosely base coated with festive green. Okay, and then we did some highlights. Oh, I put some Irish moss in there. Okay, so Irish moss and okay, and then some citron green. Oh, and so we're gonna use some mermaid tail. Love that color. And I was at Michael's and I forgot to get palette paper. I've been using sheet protectors forever because I ran out. All right, let me just grab some of these colors. We've got some festive green, some Irish moss, a little bit of citron. Okay, so a couple of little greens. We're going to also do her little stockings. Okay, so we're gonna do those. But again, we're just going to use that little 1/8" lunar blender and we're going to loosely base coat in this hat. Again, I used the background black to my advantage. You can see I left a little bit sort of showing on this left side. Okay, so usually what I do is I start in the brightest area, which is on the right side, and then you pull down and allow your paint to skip as you lift off. So then it just kind of leaves just lighter color. There's not quite as much, so you have that nice little shadow. Okay, and then right underneath the skull, okay, you want a little bit more shadow underneath the skull. And then I wanted her inside of her hat to be a different color. So I did a little bit of orange and some pink. Orange and pink, like they just look so nice together, I think. All right. Okay, so let's start with that hat. Again, just using a little bit of that festive green. I'm surprised I used that color. It is a little bit transparent, but here we go. Okay, so we're gonna use that like this. Okay, and I'm gonna do kind of, I just basically started in the center. We'll just keep going. Okay, right in here. Let's put in some of those little stripes. Okay, I love striped hats. Okay, my little skeleton on the on my little boo crew, she has like purple and black. So that's an option. You could do purple and black if you don't like the greens. Um, Definitely any color. You could, so many different options. Okay, so this is just with some festive green. I'm just using my 1/8" lunar blender, fits in perfect. Okay, and you can see I'm pressing on my brush quite a bit when I first start. And then as I come towards that left side, I just kind of allow the paint to skip. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of keep going here. Let me just see where we're going. Ah, right here. Almost lost it. Okay, like that. So I'm just adding like little swirls on the hat, like so. Okay, and I just kind of keep going over them to accent, make it a little bit brighter, and we've got her little bow. We'll do that after. Okay, but there's the little stripes. Is that showing up at all? Can you guys see okay? Yeah, for sure. I can definitely do that. Does that help? Okay. Can you see that better now? Is that okay? All right. Let me know how it looks. Okay, so basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that green and we're also going to add some on the hat. Okay, so again, on her hat, the highlight is just right up on the edge of the brim. So I'm just gonna take that and very loosely paint in her hat. Okay, so the most color is like right along the edge, like this. Okay, and you can see the color sort of skips. Every single time that I pick up paint, I'm always blend off the excess, evenly distributes it on your brush. Okay, I'm starting right on the edge of her hat, pressing a little harder, and then a little lighter, kind of as I come up towards that little skull. Okay, so that it looks like there's a little bit of black sort of showing for shadow, like that. All right, it's coming to life. Again, it goes through some of those little ugly stages, but it'll get better. Okay, there's a little bit on the edge there, like that. Okay, so I've got a little bit on the edge. That's where I use the kind of the chisel of my brush. I'm using the flat of the brush just to kind of fill in, and you can see it's um, kind of allow the paint to sort of skip underneath that little skull. So there's a nice little shadow right in here. Okay, and then I'm going to accent those. I'm going to go over these little stripes again on her hat, especially on the right side. So I just pull towards the left like that. Okay, just to make those a little bit brighter. All right, not too bad. Okay, how's everybody doing? Are you doing okay? Hopefully it's showing up. I don't know why it's trying to pull my light over so it's a little bit brighter. Is that helping? Okay, perfect. All right, there we go. Hopefully that's better where you can see it a little bit brighter. Okay. Like that. Okay. Oh, and we've got her little shoes or her stockings. Okay, so just take the same color, except, you know what, we can even just, if you want to just do all of the stockings and then just highlight, okay, after the different colors. Okay, so just one little dash. Oh, I forgot to base coat her little skulls or bones on her shoes. Okay, those are just white. Oh, sorry, off camera. Okay, so just painting in her little stockings, like so. That's just with the green. Okay, I'm gonna paint in that little bone here on her shoes with a little bit of white. Okay, right in there. I love all these little details that you can add. It's kind of fun. All right. Okay, so there's that little bone. I just painted it in with white, like this. Okay, so we started with the hat. Again, I start on the right side, pull towards the left, and I gave that 2 or 3 coats just so that it was nice and bright. Okay, and then, when I was using the lunar blender, I started just right on the brim of the hat, okay, closest to her face, um, so it was the brightest, and then just kind of, pulled back, added more strokes, allowed that paint to skip a little bit underneath the skull so that there's a little bit of shadow underneath there, and then just kind of finished off that one little part of the hat. Okay, you could even do a little bit on the other side if you wanted. And then, of course, her little stockings. Okay, so cute, like this. And then we're gonna do those other little stripes on, we'll just let that dry and we'll start the other little stripes. Okay, and I picked teal. So I just basically used a little bit of mermaid tail and a little bit of that teal mint, which is such a fun color. Okay, so you can take a little bit of teal mint, and we're basically just going to pull across. Same idea, like this. Okay, so from that right side towards the left, it doesn't even have to be perfect. Of course, all my stuff's a little bit messy, but I think it just kind of comes together in the end. Okay, so right in here, just pulling towards that left side. Okay, like so. Whoops. All right. Okay, so this is such a pretty color. Mermaid tail. Mermaid tail, and then a few little stripes on her stockings. And those are just like little dashes, like so. Okay. So you just kind of flick the paint so that it skips a little bit. All right. Okay. How's everybody doing? Yes. She's got little bones on her stockings there. So fun. Okay. Um, hopefully this is a little better. Is it brighter so that you can see? That's funny. Okay. Yes, these eyes got a little bit bigger. They tend to do that sometimes, don't they? Oh, well. Okay. So, we're just going to let that dry. We're gonna go back to the green. Okay, I did, some little mermaid tail stripes in there. Okay, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna highlight the green with some Irish moss. Okay, so again, same way. You're just pulling from that one side to the other. Like, look at how that pops. So fun. I just love it. Okay, so right in here, just pulling from that right side over to the left. Allow your paint to skip. You just kind of set your brush down and then pull and lift. Okay, don't think too much and have some fun. It's all good. Okay, like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see how kind of messy and loose this is. It's just, it all comes together in the end. Okay, so right in here, cute little striped hat. And we are gonna get brighter and brighter. So you can see even a second layer with that same color just makes it pop. Okay, same thing on her hat, like this. Okay, so just sort of brushing in some of that highlight, like so. Maybe there's a little edge of her hat showing on the other side. What the heck, we can add that in. Okay, but just sort of brushing in, and you can see that I just kind of blend every time I pick up paint. We'll put some little dashes on her little stockings. Okay, coming down. I'm using the little 1/8" lunar blender. This is Irish moss. It's just a nice bright green. Okay, because every girl needs some little stockings that are bright green and teal.
So cute. All right. Okay, so that's a good start. It's kind of starting to glow, isn't it? It's really coming to life, I think. Okay, so just doing a little dash, do a little dash. Okay, like this. All right, let's paint the black eyes in our skull so that we can, again, skulls, I always kind of make the eyes different sizes. I don't know why, I just like it. But you know what? You can make them the same size if you like, and they always have a crack in their skull. Uh, okay, so and you could make it a cute little skull too if you wanted to. You know, so he doesn't have to be quite as scary like that. All right. Okay, so there's a couple little accents on the little skull. But you can add a little glow in the skull's eyes here with the next green. Okay, so and then you can just take a little bit of citron green or margarita or whatever color that you want, just a little bit lighter. And we're gonna add that next little highlight. Look at how it pops, like so fun. I love building up the colors. Each color covers a little bit smaller area so that you can still see all those colors. You have a nice gradual color change from really dark over here on the left side to nice and bright on that right. Okay, so right in here, like so. Okay, and then we're also going to add a little highlight on the hat. Okay, so just brushing in. I don't know, my hand's always in the way, isn't it? Okay, hopefully you can see it like this right here. Okay, all right. Maybe a little dash at the bottom here for a little bit of a highlight. You could even use the green, kind of add a little sinister glow. Okay, like this. I love dry brushing with the little lunar blenders, especially on those black backgrounds. Just so fun. All right. Okay, so she's coming to life. And then we're going to add a little bit more highlight with a little bit of citron and some white. Okay, so we can get even brighter and just do another little, that's really bright. Love it. Okay, so a little dash, maybe not quite as much, like so. Okay, maybe a little bit on her hat. Okay, here and there, like so. All right. Oh, okay. All right. And then we're going to highlight the little teal stripes. Okay. So we're gonna use, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna take a little bit of teal mint, and we're gonna highlight those little, oh my gosh, look at how bright that is. It's so pretty. Teal mint, what a nice color. Okay, so right in here, just taking a little bit of that color. Oh my gosh, my dog is just barking up a storm tonight. Can you guys hear him? It's my little 7-pound attack dog. Okay. So right in here, just taking a little bit of that teal mint. Again, I just really loosely kind of sweep that in. Okay, right in here, like this. It's so pretty. Every time I do this, it's a little different. Um, okay, you can add some little accents on the green if you like to tie it together. You can do the same on the green. You can add some little accents on the hat right here. Okay, so with that teal mint, like look at how pretty it looks with the green. like that. Oh, I love accents. They're so okay, so right in here, just have some fun, just kinda dry brush a little bit of that color in, allow it to skip. Trick is no water in your paint or your brush. Okay, so just taking that little bit of paint, again, blend off the excess, and you can brush in a couple of those little accent colors. Okay. Oh, and don't forget our little stockings again. I keep forgetting that. Yes, isn't it fun? Love this color. So pretty. Okay, I forgot to accent her little green ones, but we'll come back. We can do that. Okay, right in here. All right. I even used a little bit of purple pizzazz in there, I think. So you could take some purple pizzazz and add a little bit just on the left side of her hat if you wanted to pull a little bit over. Ooh, that looks spooky and very cute. Okay, love it. All right, so if you want to take a little bit of purple pizzazz and add a little bit of that, that looks cute. Okay, right. Okay, and then you can add even some thermal green. Love the thermal green. It's so cool. It just sort of makes everything kind of pop, and you can paint that on top. It makes it come to life. Kind of makes it glow almost. It's really cool. Okay, so thermal green. No two little ghosts are the same. Okay. um, so fun. I love all the different colors. Okay, let's put the boo in. The boo, you know what? It's funny. It started out pink and then I added some orange because I thought it needed some orange. But you could definitely leave it pink if you wanted to. So I started, oh, and there's more highlights. I forgot. Sunny day. Hang on. Hold, hold that thought. I took a little bit of sunny day and added a little sunny day to this little hat because why not? We need a little touch of yellow. Okay, so if you want to go that extra step and just okay, so this part of my little hat got kind of furry, so or fuzzy. You can just even take your round brush with a little touch of black, um, like this, and just kind of touch up the edge so that it makes it a little bit more not quite so fluffy. Okay, but anyway, just take a little bit of black. And that's the reason I do like even when you're doing on a chalkboard that you get from Michael's or somewhere, I always sand the chalkboard and then paint it black. Okay, that way you can fix up little things and it won't be different. So even if it's a chalkboard, sand it off, or sand it, give it a couple coats of black paint, and then you're ready to roll. Okay, I never just paint right on top of that surface. But we're gonna do that lettering. Okay, so the lettering is done. Okay, with again, I started out with like a deep pink. My favorite. What's your favorite pink? My favorite is just to mix a little bit of Tuscan red and some white. Okay, I find that you can get all kinds of different colors. Okay, depending on how much white that you add. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of Tuscan red and a little bit of white. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start right at the top of the letter. So anytime that you're doing lettering or anything like that, always rest your hand as much as you can, okay, on the surface. And then right in here, again, holding my brush a little farther down so I have lots of control. Rest your hand on your pinky like that. Okay, and then we're going to start right at the top like this and pull down. And I'm just using a round brush. So if you've got, a 3 or a 4 round, that would work great. I started with a pink, and then I accented it with the orange, and I was really, quite happy with that. Okay. I've, I like that. I this is my favorite pink. It's just so pretty. You can get it really deep or, like, really light, so I use that all the time. Um, okay, so basically, again, you're always trying to pull down with your brush. So even for this bee, I'll kind of start right in the center like this and pull down. And this one I made just a little bit different, just to kind of fill in that surface area. But of course, the more that you press on your brush, the wider that stroke's going to be. Okay, like this. So right in here, always kind of trying to pull down and around like that. Okay, so I don't push up with my brush. I'm always pulling down. So a lot of these letters, they take 3 or 4 strokes just to finish off. Okay, so and you need a good brush. Lettering is always kind of a little bit tricky. So if you have a good brush, it makes it that much easier. Okay, so if you have like hairs that are sticking out all over the place because you used it a lot for something else, definitely invest in a good round brush or whatever brush that you want to use for. Depending on, I mean, I use mostly rounds, but you can use flat brushes depending on what you're doing. Okay. But again, it's all about, pressure. I always start sort of really light if you want sort of a really nice tip. Okay. And then you can see I'm pressing on the brush and then lifting to come down like so. And then I'm going to come up like this and meet that right there. And then I'm going to do the other side. Okay. So to get that little swirl. So there's the first start of that. Okay, we've got the B in there. Okay, and then again, I sort of moved this O up just because I had a little extra room on this piece. Okay, this one I made. So you're always kind of starting at the top and pulling down, starting at the top, pulling down and around. Okay, so again, that took a few strokes just to finish that off. Okay, and just go slow. Um, okay, and you can always touch this up after. Okay, like this. All right. So I know it's kind of, you can even leave this pink. It looks so cute pink, I think. Now I'm rhyming. Dr. Seuss here. Okay. So what color are you going to leave your lettering? Are you going to do it the orange or are you going to leave it pink? It looks kind of cute pink. I don't know. Anyway, like so. Okay, so this is just Tuscan red and a little bit of white. Okay, like so. Boo. All right, so there's that pink lettering. I did accent it. This one I changed to an orange just because I really wanted the Halloween kind of orangey color. But there's like out like this year. It's been pink and lime green. Um, that's sort of been trending. So I think it would be cute. Okay. So, and then we're going to use a little bit of that same color. Okay. And we're going to add that in the bottom of the hat. Okay. And also her shoes. So I'm just using that little 1/8" lunar blender. Blend back and forth. Tap off the excess. Okay. Right in here. Okay. Make sure that you get rid of all the excess water. Okay. Like this. And I'm going to brush a little bit of that pink in the underside of her hat. like this. Okay, so just this is just with the little 1/8" lunar blender, and I'm brushing that in with a little bit of that dark pink, so Tuscan and a little touch of and then, of course, her little pink bow. I don't know, it looks kinda cute with just the pink on this one. Should we leave it or should we add the orange? I don't know. What do you think? Okay, so a little bit on the bow, coming in around the top of that loop, and then just sort of pulling in towards that little skull. Okay, go like this. All right, what do you think? Add orange? Okay. I don't know. I have a hard time with the pink's so cute. You could totally leave it with just the pink. All right. Okay, I'm gonna just add a little bit more color because it didn't cover super well on my lettering. So I'm gonna go over that one more time. Okay, like this. Okay, again, lettering, always start at the top, pull down. I'm just adding a little bit more paint so it's not quite so transparent. Okay, so red, a little bit of white, and then we'll add some of those cute little accents with the orange and a little extra red. Okay. Okay, what do you guys have planned for this weekend? Do you have plans? Are you painting? Do you have classes? Are you doing yard work? Everything is turning this beautiful yellow and orange. All the leaves are falling off the trees. It's very pretty. What's the weather like where you're from? Where are you watching from? I always like to know. Okay. Whoop, went outside the lines. All good. All right. Okay, so anyway, there's my lettering. Okay, nice. I love that. Awesome. Okay. Some of you are painting with me again on Sunday. I'm painting this cute little bear. So it's the little give thanks bear. Okay. All right. I'm going to let that dry for just a second. I'm just going to stick in this little spider while I'm waiting for that to dry. Oh, I forgot her shoes. Okay. Her shoes. Um, nice. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit of red, a little touch of white, and I'm just going to paint in her cute little shoes. Okay, you can use your little lunar blender. It actually fits in perfect, or you can use your round brush, whatever you like. Okay, so there's her cute little shoes. All right, she's coming to life. I always find when you dry brush, it comes together so quick. I love it. I love it. This would look super cute too on like some really teeny tiny surfaces. Cute little ghosts. Into ghosts. All right. Okay. Yes, I love it. It's the weather here I think is perfect. It's well today was rainy and windy, but it's not too hot. Okay. So, I'm just going to take a little bit of purple and I'm going to dash in that little spider. Okay, you can use your little 1/8" lunar blender and just pull towards the outside edge so it looks a little bit hairy. Gross, right? Um, I was in our shed the other day and the biggest spider was on the oh, it was so bad. I had to get out of there right away. The worst is when they disappear and then you don't know where they are. Okay, so that little spider I just did with purple pizzazz, and you can touch into a little bit of white and just pull towards your outside edge, just using the chisel of your brush. Okay, and those will need a couple coats, and they're just like little circles, nothing fancy. Little circles. Okay, and then we'll add some little details on here after. These things just keep getting bigger and bigger. Okay, right in here. All right. Okay, that's gonna be another layer. Anyway, um, okay, so let's add the accents. Again, I started out with pink. I'm gonna add a little bit of red at the bottom, and then we're gonna add some orange on top. So we're gonna pull some nice highlights with the orange. I wanna put the red in first though. Okay, so I did put a little bit of red at the bottom. Um, okay, so just taking a little touch of red and maybe a tiny little bit of white. Okay, and you can pull that from the bottom just to kind of deepen that color. Like, wow, that really, I don't know, is that showing up at all? Can you see it? But it looks really pretty. Okay, so just mostly just red. I'm even just using my 1/8" lunar blender to just pull in a little bit of red from the bottom of those letters. Love adding little accents to the letters. Okay, so this is just with red. Can just add a little bit of red in her hat. Why not? And then we'll add some orange. Okay. Okay, a little bit on her shoes. Okay, and then we're gonna add some orange. So orange, we're gonna start with a little bit of tiger lily. So we've got tiger lily. Love this orange. Okay, okay, we've got tiger lily, orange flame. Look at how bright and pretty that is. We're gonna take that. Okay, so again, I always start kind of with the shadow colors. I just basically build up the highlights. Okay, so we're gonna take tiger lily, then we're gonna get a little bit brighter. Orange flame and cad yellow, and then a little bit of sunny day. All right. Okay, so we're just building up those highlights. We're gonna start with that darker tiger lily. I'm just using my 1/8" lunar blender, blend off the excess, tap off any excess water. Okay, and we're just gonna brush in that color along the top. Wow, that looks so pretty. Holy smokes, it just like glows. Okay, so that's with, I don't know if that's showing up at all, but it looks pretty amazing. Okay, so really nice and bright. I love bright. I love bright colors. Bright, happy colors. That's my thing. Okay, so starting at the top, pull down and allow the paint to skip. Pink actually works really nice as a base for this. It's a nice little accent. Okay, so right in here, just, I'm gonna have to fix that. It's a little crooked, but okay, so tiger lily, pulling from the top down. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a little bit at the bottom of the inside of the hat. Okay, and then on her shoes, let's just add a little accent there on So cute. Okay, and then a little bit on her bow. So same thing on her bow. I'm basically just pulling from the outside edge of that tattered little ribbon. Okay, pulling in towards the skull. Okay, so a little bit of color there. It really goes through some stages, doesn't it? Okay, so um, I'm just gonna blow dry this super quick. Hang on 1 second. Hopefully this isn't too bright or too loud. Okay, hope that wasn't too loud. But we're just gonna take the next orange. So that's gonna be orange flame, and we're gonna brighten. Okay, so the first color that we did covers the most. And then we're going to do just a little bit less each one so that there's a nice gradual color change. Okay, so I'm using my little 1/8" lunar blender. Okay, pulling that highlight with orange flame like this. Okay, so basically fills in a big part of that letter. Okay, so pressing on my brush a little bit harder, and then you sort of lift, pull and lift. Okay, so that you get a nice little soft edge, okay, where the color ends. Right in here, okay, like this. All right. Okay, so right in here, just adding some little highlights, starting at the top, pulling down. Okay, allowing it to skip. Man, that orange flame, it's so pretty. Okay, like this, maybe a little bit in the hat, a little bit on her shoes for her cute little shoes. I don't know, I felt like she just needed some cute little skinny legs with some stockings. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and again, you want to let that dry before you give the second layer. Um, I always keep my blow dryer handy. I blow dry usually between each little layer and then put on the second. Okay, you can still see a little bit of pink sort of peeking through here and there, like that. And then we're gonna take a little bit of orange flame and cad yellow. Okay, so just really just getting brighter and brighter. Okay, so again, we just gradually work up and you do it all again like that. Okay, this isn't quite dry. I might have to work on my spider here a little bit more. Okay, but so you use orange flame, cad yellow. Okay, and just really sort of like loose with your hand. Okay, I'll try and hold my brush back a little bit, but just kind of flicking that color so it's really loose, kind of whimsical. Then you're gonna add some sunny day, and you just kind of keep getting brighter and brighter. So fun. And you don't have to worry, like if you go outside the lines, it just kind of adds to the movement of the piece. I love it. It's just really loose, whimsical. Okay, just adding little dashes to bring it to life. Okay, so each color covers a smaller area. Okay, so you can see I'm not really like, you don't have to pay attention too much. It can go outside the line, kind of makes it look like it's glowing. And then you can use just even sunny day, maybe some white. get even brighter. But each little accent and each layer really adds to it, I think. Doo-doo-doo. Just touching on each one. I don't know. Okay, like so. Okay. And oh, I forgot the little bow, of course. Okay, we gotta accent that. Okay, the bow I kind of left a little bit more pink. Okay. All right. Spider, just purple and white, like this. Okay, love the purple. And then I gave him green legs because purple and green go so well together. So pretty. Okay, and then you, of course, you can add some little eyes. Um, and then she has spider webs kind of all over the place. Um, yes, I love bright colors. They are definitely my thing. I love it. I love it when they're bright. Um, so the the little spider webs I actually did with a liner brush. If you have, my favorite is like the one liner. This is the one liner. It actually looks like a script liner, but it just says one, so I don't think it's a script. It definitely is like a script liner. Script liners have a longer hair just so that they hold more paint, and you can do longer lines with them. So basically, this is where you want to add some water to your paint. Okay, you really want to thin your paint so that it flows off your brush really nice and easily. Okay, basically you make a little puddle that you can keep going back to, and then I twist my brush and pull away to give it a nice little tip. And that's where you want to add, you can add those little spider webs. Okay, so pick a little spot that you like. I usually do these longer lines first. You can add some little curls to them, little swirls like that, and then the little lines that go across. And don't make them all perfect. Okay, maybe some of them are a little crooked or missing here and there. Okay, it always looks better when they're a little bit kind of irregular. They look more natural. Okay, like so. And you can add those kind of wherever you want. Like she's got a little one in her hat. Again, just kind of, I'm gonna go this way instead because it's a little easier. Okay, like so. So you do the little longer lines first, and then basically just go and do these little guys. Maybe there's a little one missing. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like that. So fun. I love spider webs. They're so cute. When they're on my paintings and not inside my house. Okay, like this. All right, so there's a little spider web. Um, I added a little one right here coming around this into the spider. Then you can add the little eyes and the legs, but I added lots of little spider webs here and there. Okay, they're pretty. Okay, once you get your brush loaded, you can go quite a while with the one liner. Anyway, you can add them in all the little places. Okay, um, and then basically there's here. Let me see here. These little legs I did with that kind of lime green. You might want to. You can use any of the greens, or I mean, you don't have to use green. Whatever you want. Okay, just kind of, I really love those little so. And then, of course, you need some eyes on that guy. Okay, so you can paint some little eyes on. And then finishing, I just actually did some chalk pencil lines. I know I'm not quite done, need some legs on that guy, but, and the spider webs, but just to kind of show you to finish off, I did some dry brushing. Okay, so if you wanted to do like, you just basically use some of the same colors. Burnt orange is a really nice orange for like a base. So a lot of times I'll put that one on first. And you can just use like one of the bigger lunar blenders or even like a stippler brush. That works great too. A lot of times I'll use like a 1/4 inch or even a 3/8. And you just use it dry, take a little bit of paint, rub off the excess. And this is where you can just kind of loosely dry brush on some color like so, or you can just paint the edge. You know, if you want it just to be a little bit brighter, a little bit more bold, you can just go ahead and paint it all. Okay, but this is how I did the edging on that piece. Okay, I just used a stippler brush. It worked actually it works really good. So, and it goes pretty quick. But and then I basically just added more highlights. So once this was dry, then I took like this. I love it. Don't you love the shape of this one? It's so cool. So this was, again, I didn't really like the piece, but I like the shape of the piece. You got to look past that sometimes. Um, just so cool. You can paint over a lot of things. There's so many cute little signs at Dollar Tree and Dollarama that already have something on them, but you can usually sand them off and paint over top. So they're cute little, like, look at how that pops out. Isn't that cute? Okay, and then I'm just going to highlight that with the other oranges and maybe some pink. I don't know. But the stippler brush works so well to do the edging. Whoops. Okay, that was a little bit brighter, but that's okay. Happy accidents, right? Okay. It's all good. Okay. Anyway, so cute. I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to add some more little highlights. You just basically grab the next color and just do the same thing. You just brighten up. But definitely let it dry before you do that next layer. Okay, otherwise it'll come up like that. But yeah, you can go really nice and bright. And then I also did, so these little guys, these are just chalk pencil lines. And for that, you know, you'd have to spray varnish if you use the chalk pencil. But and if you don't want to spray varnish, you can even use a crayon, like a pencil crayon, a white one. Those ones don't smear. But usually with those chalk pencils, I had one here somewhere. It's sharpened kind of. Okay, you can actually wet it first, and then right here. Okay, so what I did was I wet the pencil first, okay, and then I just added some little accents. You know, when you wet the when you wet the chalk pencil, it looks so much brighter and it's more vibrant, like that. You can add little swirls, kind of here and there. You can accent little areas. Sorry, my dog's barking again. Okay. I mean, you could even add the little spider webs with your chalk pencil if you wanted to, but I just think it looks so cute when you add that little bit of chalk. Okay, you can accent the highlight areas even. Okay, lots of times I do that. Okay, I really like the little accents. And then I just basically spray varnish after. Now, this little thing at the top, this was glue, that little pumpkin. They and those are just with the mold. So if you guys haven't seen that, you can buy these molds at Michael's right now. This little ghost one was so cute. I just got this one at Michael's. Um, what you do, okay, so these ones I did before. You don't have to fill them up to the top because they're so deep. But look at, you can just, whoops, this guy had a little bit of something in him or something. But this is what it looks like when you pop them out, like so cute. And then you can paint over the glue. The glue paints up really easily with acrylic paint. But basically, you just take your glue gun, fill in the silicone mold. It's not going to melt. You can use any of these silicone molds. You can find them in the candy section even. Or I saw some really cute ones today at Michael's in the resin section. The reason I really like the hot glue though is because it's inexpensive, first of all, and it just takes a couple minutes. And there's so many different molds that you can use, and you can cut it. So for instance, this was a mold I got at Michael's with the cute scroll. Okay, so you just peel them out. You can paint them with acrylic, and if you didn't want this whole thing, you could just take your scissors and trim it. That's what I love about it. So, if you didn't want this bottom part on, you can cut off that part. And it's bendable. So, if you have a rounded surface like a pot that you want to put it on, you can hot glue it on there, and it'll adhere to that rounded surface. But I love how you can like trim it. So, if it's too big or you want to get rid of a couple little things, you can take that. So if you wanted to like accent the top part of this, paint this black, and I think that would look so cute even without this part. I don't know. So, I mean, so many things. You can take ribbon, put another little ghost, you can make a pumpkin. So much fun, and it only takes a few minutes. I mean, you could even put your molds in the fridge or freezer to set up a little faster. The only thing is you need to let them dry flat, of course. So, but so much fun. I'm glad I'm not the only one, Debbie. I've kind of gone crazy with that. But it's so much fun. And I love things that are affordable. I can buy glue sticks at Dollarama, which is nice. And these glue guns are so old, but they do the trick. So I find that you really do need the hot glue gun though. Just the cool melt it sets up too fast before you have a chance to fill up the molds. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the demo tonight. And have a great weekend. Hey, again, if you I would love it if you tag me. It's just Holly Hanley Painting Designs and Classes. And yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun tonight. This was the piece. The pattern's on my website in case you're interested in doing it. It's just hollyhanley.ca. So, and I have more new things coming that I can't wait to show you. Lots of ideas. But thank you so much for commenting and subscribing. Follow me on Facebook. I'll put the winners on Facebook, and I'll post them on here too. But I hope you guys had a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much. Oh.